And of course, I must be talking about Madonna. Late last year, she rang me from New York and sort of said, could you possibly fly to New York to do a very special favour for me and do an interview with me for MTV television? Well, I flew to New York. We did it on a Saturday night with an American crew, and we got halfway through the interview and her husband Sean walked in. Madonna tensed up a bit, I got very tense and nervous, and we completed the interview. We then went off to dinner afterwards, and we both really weren't happy with that interview. I said, look, I've got my own crew here, why don't we go back to the hotel now and do a second interview? She was in on it, I was in on it, and here's the second interview. I certainly hope you'll like it.
I think I've coped with it very well, considering.
Well, I mean, from the start of the year, you had a major film coming out in Desperately Seeking Susan.
Yeah.
You had to then embark on a tour, and you were doing both the movie last year and trying to put a tour together, you know?
Yeah.
So, how did you gel it all together?
Well, I couldn't predict any of the reactions that I was going to get from any of the things I was doing, but in the end, I think that I did a pretty good job, so my reaction was, I'm glad this is happening to me, and it feels good, and I did what I wanted to do.
Okay, the Madonna Virgin Tour. I mean, like, it's putting yourself out, not only on the road, but in front of a lot of people and a lot of critics.
Right.
Now, the people loved it, and that was proven. Some of the critics hated it. They wanted to...
My tour?
They wanted to shoot you down, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So how did you cope with that?
Well, I think overall I ignored them because I knew deep down in my heart that it was good, and that I was also always going to meet up, and I will in the future meet up with a certain amount of, you know, controversy, a certain amount of opposition to what I'm doing.
Okay, if you look at the video version, I mean the Virgin Tour video, it looks great, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not that easy to put that together, you know? And especially, I mean, for yourself, I mean, like, the dancers, the musicians, I mean, there was a backing group that hadn't been there before on your records. So, I mean, like, how did you do that?
How did I put the show together?
Yeah, how did the process of you putting a tour together?
Well, the main and most important thing was getting the band together, and I auditioned East Coast and West Coast musicians, and wherever the majority of the good musicians were, that's where I decided to set up, you know, like, shop. It just turned out that almost everybody I used in my tour I found in Los Angeles, so that's where I really put together the tour. I brought one guy out from New York, and it also ended up that that's where I found all the dancers, although I auditioned people from everywhere.
Then to sort of put this sort of situation together, you put yourself through a strenuous thing. I mean, number one, you have to sing.
Right.
And number two, you put yourself through this immense dancing routine from number to number to number, you know?
Well, what I would do is I'd spend all afternoon working out all the choreography and the staging of the show with me and the dancers, and then I'd go at night and work with the musicians. And then when it got, and we rehearsed like this separate, me and the dancers and then me and the musicians for about a month. And then we spent about 3 or 4 weeks putting it all together on the soundstage, and everybody came together, and I had a great choreographer to work with, so he sort of watched over the whole, you know, what it was like visually, and everybody started working together, but I had to take it in pieces.
Okay, putting it in pieces, and then deciding to be televised in concert.
Yeah,
now,
well,
all that in 1 year, I might add, is a pretty big move, you know?
Yeah.
Some people wait years to have themselves televised.
Filmed, you mean?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're not sure of themselves.
But I mean, I knew it was a good show. I didn't decide to film it, mind you, till after about a quarter of the way through the tour when I realized, you know, how well it was going to go. I had no idea that it was going to, you know, I had hopes that it was going to be successful, but you really don't know how things are going to work until you know, set off and see what the audience response is going to be.
It's very easy for us to sort of, like, you and I to look at each other and sort of say, well, you know, I'm interviewing you, I've known you for X amount of time.
Yeah.
But Madonna, the word Madonna on the world market, or just the world itself, just from press to records to television to every form of the media, means news. How do you cope with that?
I think it's great. I mean, the fact that people are interested in what I'm doing only pushes me more to, you know, keep coming up with new and interesting ways to express myself. So, obviously, an artist wants an audience, and it's going to be something, it's going to be a plus.
Okay, let's take it back a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's December '84.
Mm-hmm.
What were you hoping then?
I had plans to do my Material Girl video, so I was hoping that that would be a success. And then after that, I was going to go right into planning for my tour. And having no idea what that was going to be like, because I never toured before, I hoped that was going to be a success too. And the third thing was that I knew Desperately Seeking Susan was coming out, so that was also a big question mark in the air, but I had my fingers crossed in every way.
Okay, let's talk about the film side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being a person of many talents and going to many areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a person does a film, the normal person, right?
Right.
Even like, say, your husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to worry about the MTV critics. They don't have to worry about the music critics. They don't have to worry about a multitude of things that you have to worry about, even with Desperately Seeking Susan, you know?
Yeah.
In other words, what I'm trying to say is, the fact that you've done a film, all those critics are going to have a say.
Yes.
One way or another.
Yeah, well, everybody, I mean, each art form comes with its own set of critics, so when I do a movie, I'm going to have critics as far as the public goes. I'm going to have all the people who are already interested in me and in a musical way. They're going to be my critics with the film, and now that I've done a film, people, you know what I mean, it's sort of crossover, so
Right.
the more I do, the more I sort of drag along with me, you know. You know, Sean's going to be judged on the merit of his acting alone. If you know, everything that I do influences everything else that I do.
So, I mean, like, how serious are you going into acting?
As serious as I went into music and dance and everything else I've ever done. Something that I want to devote myself to, and I want to work as hard as I possibly can. And it takes a certain amount of discipline to do that, no matter what it is. I don't ever want to do anything sort of halfway.
No, but you had the chance before. I mean, like, when you went into dancing first off and then to music, you weren't known, so you had that, at least that breath, right? Today you don't have that breath, you know, because you're Madonna.
That's true. So I suppose people are going to be more critical of me than they would if they had never heard of me before.
Right.
I mean, in one way, I have a chance that someone else might not have because I'm already a known person in the music field. On the other hand, I'm up against a lot more criticism. The whole reason I got into this business is because I want to be near people and I want to communicate with people. And I don't want to have a separation. I don't want to hide from people. And that's why it upsets me when I can't walk around the street because the paparazzi bother me or whatever, because I like to be around people. I like to be near people. I don't want to be, I want to be approachable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want people to see that I'm a human being with the same faults and the same problems and the same fears. I don't want to be this super elusive, you know, ethereal being that you can't really get to. I don't want that kind of mystery because I don't think it's real. And I think people grow tired of having to second guess you, and they grow tired of feeling like you don't really want to have anything to do with them as people. I don't think that I'm better than anybody else.
Most people could say that dreams come true. Has it come true?
Yeah, 1,000,000 times.
So what's the dreams now?
The same dreams. I mean, just because I made a great record and had a successful movie doesn't mean that's it. I want to do more great records and work in more successful movies. I just want to keep going.
Okay, in 16 months, you've had 11 staggering hits. 11. And that's a lot, you know? That's almost one a month, you know?
Yeah.
They're all on the Virgin Tour performance.
Mm-hmm.
Which is your favourite?
My favorite song or my
Yeah. Your favourite song and then your favourite performance.
Get Into the Groove.
Why?
I don't know. I guess Get Into the Groove, to me, sort of encapsulated everything I'd done from the beginning of my musical career to where I was standing out on the stage. And it also meant a lot to me that the guy that I wrote it with and the guy that produced the record with me had been Stephen Bray was somebody that I'd been with since my childhood, so he sort of came through it all the way with me, and that meant a lot to me. And it was also in the first movie I ever did.
Performance?
Yeah, everything about it.
Everything about it?
Yeah. The name of the movie is Shanghai Surprise, and it's a romantic adventure that takes place in Shanghai in 1938. And it's sort of like African Queen in that Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart, you know, they met up and they were two really unlikely people to meet up with each other. They didn't like each other at all, but they were thrown together because of the circumstances, and they fell in love in the end. And that's basically what happens to Sean and I. I play a missionary, and Sean plays a con artist who drinks a lot. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you're in love with somebody. You give up a certain part of yourself. You have to become selfless in a way, and that's the trade-off. You also get a certain kind of security that you don't have when you're not with somebody.
Okay, going back to your family then. I mean, like, being brought up with a lot of brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
You say that your mother was one of the most beautiful women that you'd ever seen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, your family were your family, you know? How important is the family to you then?
It's very important.
How will you fit it in?
Whether it's the family that you actually grew up in or it's a family of friends, I think it's always important that you bond yourself with somebody, with a small group of people. I think you need that more than anything, because then whether you're a success or a failure doesn't really have, you know, things don't go right, you don't take it out on yourself, and you have friends to support you. And if things go great, you have them there to cheer you on, too.
If you stripped away the Madonna character,
mm-hmm.
what would there be?
The person you're looking at. That's me, you know. When I'm singing on stage, that's me. It's just one part of my personality. Now, take a movie role, for instance, that might be somebody else. If I choose to be that somebody else. But everybody, no matter what they're doing, whether you're on stage singing or you're playing a character in a movie or whatever, you always bring part of yourself to something. Nothing is completely you, and nothing is completely devoid of you. Right. Devoid of you, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, when I look at you now, and especially if you put the glasses on, can you just put them on?
Of course.
And I read in Interview magazine that one of your favourite actresses is Judy Halliday.
Yes.
You look like Judy Halliday with the glasses on.
Well, thank you.
Why did you like Judy Halliday?
Because she's funny.
They said she was dumb.
She's not dumb.
She won an Academy Award.
She was clever enough to make people think that she was when she wasn't, when she was actually smarter than everyone. That's pretty good, huh?
Have you been like that?
Clever?
Have you been clever to the point that other people may have underestimated your talent?
Oh, yeah, but that's really fun, because that way, if everyone underestimates you, you keep giving them little surprises. If they get you all in one glance, then what's going to make them look again?
So when you see someone in the street that's Madonna, that loves Madonna, and sees that video clip, and you're dressed like that, and they're dressed like that, and they may knock on the window of a car, what do you think?
I think, God, look what I did.
If that person was sincere and said, look, I really can dance, I think I can sing, can you give me some advice? What would you say to her? Or even him?
I'd say, then do it. Do whatever you want to do. Just believe in yourself.
Have you always believed in yourself?
Yeah. There's going to be a lot more hits this year. I did a soundtrack for a movie that Sean just finished in Tennessee that's going to be out in the spring. I did that, you know, the title track from that. It's called Live to Tell, and then I have my album coming out, and then the movie that I'm doing in January will come out August. They plan an August release, but who knows?
Now, this may sound silly. What do you like doing most at the moment? Acting, dancing, or singing? And we're all recording, singing, of course.
It's a secret. I can't tell anybody.